Another thing is that in European work culture, independence is very emphasized. Employers a bliss for introverts because in India it's common for managers to check in frequently and come like every 30 minutes to get the update on what the person has been Hello guys, welcome back to Roaming Relations. Apeksha this side, and today is a very interesting video. In this video we are going to be talking about the culture differences and work differences that we see in our desi countries, mainly India, and what we see in Europe. This would be a general idea about covering work differences in Europe, and this is coming from my experience from living in 2 years in Italy, Austria, and from my internship experience in the United Nations in Vienna office. So because the way we work in India is so different from the way we work in Europe, and this is coming from my experience from working in the United Nations as an intern for 1 year. I was interning at the United Nations in the Vienna office in Austria, and trust me, the work culture in India it's quite different, and this would be really surprising you. In India, we are used to multitasking and living a fast-paced life. What does it mean? It is all about multitasking, balancing work and social responsibilities, and our family responsibilities, and even a lot, you know what I mean. The women are the ones who suffer the most, and sometimes we even have to work after dinner. I know this from my friends working in MNCs, and life is in a constant rush, especially in the big cities like Delhi and Mumbai, and people have to work long hours even on the weekends, and like to go beyond their job descriptions. This is the usual state. But in Europe, it's quite different. The approach to life is Dolce Vita. In Italy, it's called the sweet life, which means embracing what life comes to you. This is not fast paced. The pace of life is very slow and relaxed, which shows the way to balance and relax and enjoying the moment. You will see people like taking time for long lunches and enjoying their coffees, and often taking a break, even like 2 times a day for the coffee, and going out of the park, going out for break, which is really usual. And even in United Nations, I see people going out for like 1 hour or 1.5 hour lunches. In India, uh, when it's more than 45 minutes, I know like you are given seen like differently. So it's really the usual contrast here is that the life philosophy, like balance and living the stress free life, is really reflected in this work culture. So let's discuss what the culture differences is. And we often feel ourselves constantly pressured under work, deadlines and late night calls and tight schedules, and this is a reality. But stress is almost the same as productivity, because if we are not stressful, we feel like, are we even productive? But in Europe, the philosophy is opposite. Work life balance is a way of life, and the employers prioritize their mental health and emotional well being of employees. I've seen my bosses say to people like, go to home, go and take the sick leave. There is no need to come to the office if you're not feeling well, and you won't be productive if you're not feeling well. And they know what the situation really is. And where in India the bosses really want to suck all your work and suck the energy and take all what you can do, it's not the same here. Everyone is respected. They are not, you will not feel like in this constant thing like I want to deliver more and more and more. Even if you do, you are respected, but it's not like a necessity like we have in India, that in a constant world where we are judged and there are so many people that we have to prove ourselves by delivering more and more. It's not the same. Most European companies strictly adhere to the like 9 to 5 work after 7 hours, 8 hours of work, it's you will see no one in the offices. When usually in India we see people working till 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. No, this doesn't take place here. There are no like night emails or after calls. Uh, there is just like time for relaxation for the remaining part of the day. After one comes home, he is usually into music or something else or whatever, but it's illegal for bosses even to contact the employees outside work. What they do is like just relax in the remaining part of the day. In India, after we come from office, even then, especially engineers, they have to work for work and like spend more time completing some project or things after they even after the office time. But in Europe, this is not the case. Your personal time is your personal time, and the stress free environment creates a happy place. Yeah, when we think about vacation, we often feel guilty because taking a break feels like so different and feels like slacking off, that we might be unproductive, we might miss something, and like many of us wouldn't have taken vacations in so long. And usually people even bring their work laptops to a holiday, not to miss on emails, not to miss on something important. But in Europe, vacation is not just a luxury, it's a way of life, it's a right, and it is to be taken without feeling guilty, which was very strange in the first thing, because living in India you have to constantly deliver, you constantly have that pressure. But it's an unsaid pressure. But in Europe, companies pay like 4 to 6 weeks. There is 4 to 6 weeks of paid vacation every year. There are not in a year we don't get 13 salaries but 14 salaries. We Europeans get 14 salaries per year. So this is a paid holiday. We get like, there are like 1 month of there is 1 month of paid holiday in which people can take all of it, and if they don't take all of the leaves, they it won't be carried forward. So there is no point to save. I remember when I was saving up some leaves from for my trip to India, my boss told, oh, don't work it, just take these leaves. There is no need for you to come in this vacation time to office. And during vacations you are expect to fully disconnect, no emails and no calls, nothing. And you won't get replies from anyone, which is not usually the thing. The bosses might even call you on the weekends or when you are on the vacation, and no one judges you for taking your time off, because this is the best thing that happens. And in Europe it's completely normal. Now let's talk about socializing at work. In India, office parties are formal. Parties are usually pretty formal, right? We get some snacks or we order some pizzas, and the office, like there are these forced HR parties. But in Europe the culture is very relaxed, and when it is about socializing, because it's very common to have the office parties and there is alcohol in that. So I remember during my internship time, I joined during summers, and during the summers there is this huge party uh, for the colleagues, in which during which my boss taught all of the interns how to make a mojito, and he ordered like bottles of wine and alcohol. And and seeing everyone doing this, it was weird for the first time, because we don't know, I didn't know that parties in Europe is about alcohol also. So there were snacks and alcohol, and everyone is was enjoying. Everyone from the interns to the old aged people, they were all enjoying and having fun in this summer party. In India, alcohol is seen as a taboo, but in Europe, taking a glass of wine or beer in with your office colleagues is quite normal, and it's seen as a taboo. It's quite normal for the Europeans to have a beer or wine with their colleagues in the office, and they enjoy this. Another interesting thing is calling to bosses by their name or calling everyone by their name, which was surprising, which was strange, because we call everyone like bhaiya, didi, uncle, whatever. But well, what I mean is, don't take me wrong, work and professionalism are still taken seriously, but there is a relaxed attitude towards socializing that might feel shocking in India because of the taboo we have with alcohol and how badly it is seen. It is not the case abroad. It's casual and it's accepted. Another interesting fact is calling our bosses by the name. Um, we have a habit of calling everyone like bhaiya, didi, uh, uncle, auntie, sir, ma'am, but no, we even call like the 60-year-old with their name in Europe, which was again very, very hard to accept, and it took quite a time to accept this thing of calling the 60-year-old with her name. But after quite some time, again, you have to get used to it. Another surprising difference about the work culture is smoking. And in India, the work culture is taken, like, we often discourage the smoking culture, but in Europe, it's very low key. It's it's quite common, and it's common to see employees to step outside for like a quick smoke during the breaks, and it's not seen as a bad habit. It's another way to relax during the work hours, and in the evenings it's common to see people grabbing a beer or grabbing wine, alcohol. So it's normal to see them having the cigarette breaks throughout the day as well, even in the like even before 12 p.m. This is surprising because smoking is not openly encouraged in India, but in Europe it's considered as a personal choice. And again, like as I mentioned before, people have this don't care attitude where like one's feelings are respected, and the other person doesn't. It's a freedom and independent attitude where like in India we think a lot about others, but in Europe